They called it an unkillable beast. The human named it Buddy. The Galactic Council had lost 14 colonies to the creature they designated as Entity X7. Military reports described it as an unstoppable force of destruction, 30 meters tall, covered in biometallic armor that could regenerate faster than their most powerful weapons could damage it. Its razor-sharp appendages could slice through reinforced hull plating like tissue paper, and its acidic breath could dissolve entire structures in minutes. Commander Zekhai of the Altruian Defense Force had witnessed the beast's rampage on Colony, Tertius 9. The memory of watching his fellow soldiers incinerated in seconds still haunted his dreams. Now, as he stood in the briefing room aboard the flagship Sovereign Justice, he couldn't believe what the humans were proposing. "You want to do what?" Zekhai's translator crackled as his four eyes widened in disbelief. Dr. Sarah Chen, the human xenobiologist leading the research team, calmly repeated herself. "We want to attempt peaceful contact with Entity X7. Our preliminary analysis suggests its behavior patterns are consistent with a frightened, territorial creature rather than a mindless killing machine." The room erupted in a cacophony of alien languages. The insectoid Vextar delegation clicked and chirped angrily, while the crystalline Korthani chimed in discordant harmonies that roughly translated to absolute madness. Admiral Vortex, the Galactic Council's supreme military commander, slammed his energy staff against the metal floor. "Humans," he rumbled in his deep, gravelly voice, "your species has earned respect for your tactical prowess and combat effectiveness. But this proposal borders on suicide. That thing has killed over 2 million sentient beings across 14 worlds." Dr. Chen exchanged glances with her colleague, Captain Marcus Rodriguez, who had been quietly observing the alien officials. Rodriguez had served in humanity's first contact wars and understood the delicate balance of interspecies politics. "With respect, Admiral," Rodriguez interjected, "humanity has dealt with what you might call unkillable beasts throughout our evolutionary history. We've learned that understanding often succeeds where brute force fails." The Altruian commander's tentacles writhed in agitation. "Understanding? You cannot reason with a force of nature. This creature destroyed our most advanced defensive systems in hours." "That's exactly why we need to try a different approach," Dr. Chen said, pulling up a holographic display showing the creature's movement patterns across the affected colonies. "Look at these trajectories. X7 doesn't attack randomly. It follows specific migration routes, and its aggression peaks during what we believe are its feeding cycles. This suggests intelligence, not mindless rage." Admiral Vortex studied the data with growing skepticism. "Even if you're correct about its intelligence, how do you propose to communicate with something that's 12 times your size and covered in acid-resistant armor?" Dr. Chen smiled, a gesture that seemed to unnerve several of the alien delegates. "The same way humans have always communicated with dangerous creatures: patience, respect, and food." 3 days later, the research vessel Harmony approached the abandoned mining colony of Xerion 4, where Entity X7 had been dormant for the past 6 months. The ship carried no weapons, only scientific equipment and, to the bewilderment of the Galactic Council observers, several tons of what the humans called high-quality protein supplements. Captain Rodriguez piloted the ship personally, following Dr. Chen's careful instructions to approach slowly and maintain a non-threatening posture. As they descended through Xerion 4's atmosphere, they could see the massive creature curled around the remains of the colony's central spire like some impossibly large cat. "Remember," Dr. Chen broadcast to the small human crew, "no sudden movements, no aggressive postures. We're not invaders. We're guests trying to make friends." The creature stirred as their ship landed a respectful distance away. Slowly, deliberately, it uncoiled its massive form and turned toward the human vessel. Even through the ship's reinforced viewing ports, the crew could feel the weight of its alien gaze. Dr. Chen was the first to exit the ship, wearing only standard atmospheric gear and carrying a container of processed nutrients. The other crew members followed at a distance, their movements calm and non-threatening, despite the hammering of their hearts. The creature, Entity X7, watched them with what Dr. Chen was beginning to recognize as curiosity rather than hostility. Its massive head tilted slightly, and she noticed that its razor-sharp appendages remained retracted. "Hello there, beautiful," she said softly, setting down the container of food and stepping back. "I know you're probably hungry and tired. We brought you something to eat." The creature approached cautiously, its biometallic armor gleaming in Zarian 4's pale sunlight. It sniffed the container with sensory organs that extended from its head, then carefully sampled the contents. Hours passed. The creature ate while Dr. Chen sat nearby, speaking to it in the same gentle tone she might use with a frightened animal. Gradually, the massive being began to relax, its defensive postures softening into something almost resembling trust. The third day, the creature was allowing Dr. Chen to approach within touching distance. She discovered that beneath its fearsome exterior, Entity X7 was remarkably intelligent and, she suspected, profoundly lonely. "That's it, buddy," she murmured, running her hand along a section of its armored hide that seemed less sensitive than the others. "Nobody's going to hurt you anymore." The name stuck. Within weeks, news of the human researcher who had befriended the Unkillable beast spread throughout the galaxy. The creature they had feared, the entity that had caused the evacuation of entire star systems, was now following Dr. Chen around like an enormous, deadly puppy. The revelation that Entity X7, now officially designated Buddy in all galactic council records, had been protecting what it perceived as its territory and young, discovered to be a clutch of eggs hidden deep in Zarian 4's crust, revolutionized xenobiological research. More importantly, it opened trade routes through previously inaccessible regions of space, as Buddy seemed to regard human ships as part of its extended pack. Admiral Vortex, reviewing the final reports from his office aboard Sovereign Justice, found himself shaking his head in wonder. The humans had accomplished in 3 days what the combined military might of 12 species had failed to achieve in 2 years. Commander Zekhai, now serving as liaison to the human entity X7 research project, watched through his office viewport as Buddy playfully chased a small human shuttle through Zarian 4's atmosphere, careful not to actually catch it. How did they know? He wondered aloud to his aide. How did the humans know that something so deadly could become so gentle? His aide, a young Altruian who had studied human culture extensively, answered without looking up from her datapad. "I believe they have an old saying, Commander. Every monster is somebody's baby." Outside, Buddy rolled in the clouds like a cosmic dolphin, occasionally letting out what could only be described as sounds of joy. Dr. Chen's voice crackled over the comm system as she directed the creature's training exercises. "Good boy, Buddy. Now try the barrel roll we practiced yesterday." Their own galaxy, it seemed, would never be the same.